Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be trying out the 3M headlight restoration kit and also the 3M quick headlight clear coat. Before we get started, it's always a good idea to get some automotive masking tape. Just tape up some of the areas around the headlight. That way if you accidentally hit it with the sanding disc or the buffing pad, you don't have to worry about damaging any paint. This kit includes 500 grit, 800 grit, 3000 grit, as well as a compound for machine polishing after you're done sanding, and that's the backing plate, as well as a little buffing pad. The one thing I think this kit is missing is 1500 grit. I don't like going from 800 to 3000. I think you need something in between there. It saves a lot of machine compounding time, and you get a lot nicer finish if you have something in between 800 and 3000. So make sure you pick up some 1500 grit if you plan on doing this. Before you get started with the 500 grit, you're going to want to just lightly mist everything with water and then keep your drill around 12 to 1600 RPMs. If you're still unsure how fast you're going, you're probably safer going a little slower rather than too fast and end up damaging the light. Just work everything real evenly. Try not to touch any kind of opposing body panels. Towards the top of the light here, it's not really dull or damaged, so I'm not even going to do this top area here. I might hit it with 3000 then buff it out, but as far as sanding, it doesn't need it. After you're done with the 500 grit, then you just do the same thing with the 800 grit. In between, I like to wipe off the old residue, then remist it with water, then start with the fresh sandpaper. Nothing different with the 800 grit, basically just doing the same thing. Nice, slow, and steady. Take your time. No need to rush. Headlight restoration kind of is like a patience type thing. It's not something where you want to rush and then end up messing it up and having to buy new headlights. Then wipe it off again, and with each step it'll get a little bit nicer. And then there's the 1500 grit that I cut out by hand. And typically 3M would recommend going right from 800 to 3000, but as you can see here, the 1500 is a nice in between. It'll remove some of them sanding marks from the 800. I just think 800 is just too aggressive to go from that basically to polishing out. Then once you have your 1500 grit done, just wipe everything off, and then do basically the same thing with 3000. 3000 should clear up the headlight quite a bit. That pretty much gets it to the level where it should look pretty good. It might have a little haze to it, but you shouldn't really see any heavy scratches caused by the 500 or 800. If you start to still see scratches, you might want to jump back and hit it again with 500 or 800 to try to get any scratches out. But typically with this 3000, you want to get it pretty clear with just a little bit of haze left that you can compound out. If you have any tight areas like this top edge here or any areas that you're not comfortable with doing with the machine, then you just do it by hand. It just takes a little bit longer. 3M does have hand application kits as well for headlight restoration. It just takes a really long time, and you definitely don't get as nice of a nice even finish as these machine drill kits. So I'm just hitting these edges a little bit with 3000, nothing aggressive. You could go through the whole process. It just takes way longer, and with these lights it wasn't necessary to get real aggressive at the top. Now that we're done with the final step in sanding, it's finally ready to polish and compound. Just using the 3M compound that they give you, putting it on the foam pad. And it's probably better to go slow and steady versus fast on this step. You don't want too much heat in between your pad and headlight. You could warm it up and then possibly burn the plastic. I did it in the past just to see how far you could take a headlight, and honestly, it's not too hard. It's not too hard to burn a headlight when using some kind of rotary machine. So hit it nice, slow, and steady, keeping it around the same 12 to 1600 RPMs. You might have to come back, wipe it off, and then hit it again if you still have a little bit of haze left, or if the compound just didn't work quite as good. Is this the best compound? No. After I use this here, I realize it's not. It's definitely not the best compound ever. It works. It definitely works okay, and it's for most people it would be acceptable. In this case, it did an okay job. Then wipe it all off, and then this would be the chance to hit it again if needed. So I go ahead and just hit it again. It's got a little bit of haze still left over. This headlight's kind of sandblasted, and you can only take a headlight so far. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll definitely turn out more than acceptable for a do-it-yourself kit. Then we'll just go through, finish compounding, wipe everything off. The other headlight was already replaced, so it looked new compared to this one. So we didn't have to do any kind of machine compounding or polishing on that light. So if you're wondering, that's why we didn't show that one. What I'm doing here is just wiping everything down with like an IPA, a prep solvent, to kind of remove any kind of polishing or compounding oils or any kind of junk that got on the headlight in the process. You want to do that before you apply this headlight clear coat. This is honestly the first time I ever applied this product. What you do is just take it out of the applicator. They do recommend taping off the area. You want to make sure you don't get this stuff on the paint. I was just really careful not to get it on the paint. So you just basically wipe it on, and then I'll put it on both headlights, and then wait 10 to 15 minutes or so until it's dry to the touch, and then apply the second layer. And you have some lines when you first put it on, but it does level out very nicely, and you can't even tell that there isn't any kind of clear coat on the light. How long does this stuff last? Honestly, I'm not too sure how long it lasts, but it's probably better than any kind of wax or sealant. If you got a ceramic coating, that might be a good option as well. But that pretty much wraps this video up, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and thanks for watching.